Elon Musk finally reveals artificial gravity Starship 2022. Hello and welcome back to Bite Me. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. For the first time in history of humanity, we stand a good chance of walking on the surface of Mars. And this is thanks to the dark ambition of Elon Musk. The billionaire is building a mighty spacecraft, a Starship, that will take volunteers across the vast distance between Earth and Mars. However, since the trip will take months in the deep space, Musk company SpaceX has to find a way to protect the travelers from the effect of microgravity during the durations of the journey. This is why SpaceX has come up with an artificial gravity Starship. What is this spacecraft and how does it work? Join us as we explore SpaceX's insane artificial gravity Starship. Regardless of whether you think attempting to go to Mars is foolhardy or is not going to work, Musk is forging ahead with his plans to take people from the Earth to Mars to live there permanently. This is the reason why he is building the Starship, the space rocket that promises to be the most powerful ever built. It will be configurable for carrying humans or cargo. The Starship is unique in several aspects. It is capable of lifting more than 100 tons to orbit, which is necessary given that lots of tons of cargo have to go ahead to the colonizer. This will contain systems that will keep them alive. Remember, Mars is a very harsh environment and special provisions have to be made. Musk has to supply water, food, materials for constructing shelters, machinery for making rocket fuel, and all the works. SpaceX has designed the Starships to consist of an upper and lower stage. At the point of separations, the lower stage or the Super Heavy booster will return to Earth while the ship will proceed to Mars after refueling in orbit. To save on cost, both stages of the Starships are completely reusable. The booster returns to the land and is quickly checked out and prepped for the next flight. It will depend on about 30 Raptor engines for propulsions. The Raptor engines are designed and developed by SpaceX. The upper stage will also re-enter the Earth after each mission, with heat-resistant tiles protecting it from getting damaged by the heat produced. SpaceX plans to make about 1,000 of these Starships and launch at least 3 per day. This will allow Musk to quickly reach his goal of 1 million people on Mars. Of course, this Starship is not meant for Mars trips alone. NASA plans to use the Starship in its next missions to the moon. The spacecraft will drop the astronauts on the moon's surface and return them to orbit after they complete their missions. As a cargo carrier, the Starship is relatively simple to design. However, when the Starship is meant to transport people, some complications begin to show up. For shorter trips like to the moon, SpaceX won't have to worry about because this will last several days. However, going from Earth to Mars takes months and exposes the passengers to harmful radiations in the harsh environment that the Starship has to pass. But of course, this particular problem can be fixed by putting shields on the Starship. But one other problem that is not easily solved is gravity. It is an issue that affects astronauts that are not going as far as Mars because they have to keep a strict regimen of exercise while aboard the International Space Station. Even this is not always enough, as returning astronauts sometimes have to be stretched out of their spacecraft when they return from months-long missions. You might have seen films with a plot based on space travels. Most times, you see a massive spacecraft where the actors live or even fight and shoot at one another. However, most times, the script is silent about gravity in the spacecraft. The travelers that survive, whatever the conflict is about, get to their destinations, embark and walk away. Musk would wish to have that luxury. But the real world outside of the movie is not so forgiving. He has to produce some gravity on the Starship. To fully grasp the level of problems SpaceX has to solve when it comes to microgravity. Here, the real effect of microgravity on the human body as explained by Nitsa Sintrin, chief of NASA's Space Medicine and Healthcare System Office. In microgravity, bone loss occurs at a rate of 1 to 1.5% a month, leading to an acceleration of age-related changes similar to osteoporosis. Decrease in bone density and strength are more pronounced in some skeletal regions, such as the pelvis, although much of the loss is reversible upon return to Earth. Prolonged exposure to weightlessness also increase the risk of kidney stones and bone fractures, which are both associated with bone demineralization. In addition, studies suggest that microgravity alters the ability of bones to heal after fractures. Long stays in space also impact muscles. There is a loss of muscle mass, strength, and endurance, especially in the lower extremities. Changes in muscle performance, coupled with the effects of microgravity on connective tissues, and the demands of activities of varying intensities place astronauts at risk of fatigue and injury. Microgravity also impacts the neurovestibular system, an integrated set of neurosensory, motor, and brain circuits that allows humans to maintain balance, stabilize visions, and understand body orientations in terms of locations and directions. Exposure to microgravity often leads to disorientations and decreased neuromuscular coordinations upon return from prolonged missions. Immediately after landing, astronauts may have problems standing up, stabilizing their gaze, walking, and turning. Due to prolonged missions, exercise is effective at minimizing large muscle atrophy, and astronauts use a cycle ergometer and treadmill with downward applied pressure to maintain fitness. These are facts that astronaut Scott Kelly can attest to. He found readjusting to life on Earth hard after spending a year in space as part of NASA's Twins study, as detailed in his book Endurance. Since Musk wants the Mars community to be self-sustaining, he must ensure he delivers the travelers there as healthy as possible, else they will all perish, and his plan will come to a disastrous end. Interestingly, while SpaceX is the first company to have dealt with the brutal effect of microgravity in actual rocket development, it is not the first to attempt to solve the problem. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing video from us.